Hello, welcome, merry meet. We are two friends, Med,
And Emma.
revisiting our love for all things witchy, magical, and paranormal.
This podcast is us feeling our way through exploring all the possibilities, and we'd like to invite you along for the journey. In this episode, we'll delve into a listener question, share a listener story, and later we'll guide you through our first ritual as we talk about protection magic. But first, we're going to talk about the poll we had on our Facebook page this week. We asked what content you'd like to hear more of, and the results are in. Med,
Yeah,
should we call this section Which Way They Voted?
I absolutely love that. Yes, which way they voted, and vote they did. We had 55 votes, and Spells and Rituals came out on top with a tremendous 21 votes.
As a result of this, we will be talking about protection magic later in this episode.
Thank you so much for your feedback. It really helps us shape the show. We love hearing from you and keeping that magical conversation going.
On our social media, we also asked, have you ever had a magical moment you just can't explain? Maybe a spell that worked perfectly, a powerful dream, or a moment that gave you chills in the best way. We have had some listener stories sent in to you, and Med's going to read one of them out in a moment. But if you've got one you'd like to share with us, you can drop your story into our DMs or email whichwaynext@gmail.com, and we'll be able to read it out in one of our future episodes. Over to you, Med.
Thank you, Emma. This story was sent in from Michael. When I was young, my brother and I slept in the same room. As we were lying there, out of nowhere, I asked him, "What number am I thinking of between 1 and 100? He said 53. This was the number I was in fact thinking of, even though it had no particular previous mention, meaning, or connection. I wanted to try again, but I didn't want to press my luck using such a wide number range, so I asked, "What number am I thinking of between 1 and 10? He answered 7, which again was correct. The probability of answering correctly both times, if left to chance, is 1 out of 1,000. Of course, we know it wasn't chance that allowed this to happen, but a magical moment.
It's actually really lovely to hear a story about two siblings having that kind of connection. I actually have a twin brother, which not many people know, and I've often get asked if we say the same things as each other, or know what the other one's thinking or feeling. Can we pass messages to each other, that kind of thing? And mostly I would say no. But the only connection I do have is like if something bad's happened to him, I usually know straight away. So I feel it, what happens. Um, uh, like he was in a car accident a few years back, and I actually felt the impact of it. And I felt I was actually driving along myself, and I felt the car hit mine, but I was driving fine and everything, and I got home and I got told my brother's car had been hit. So yeah, it's really weird how you can just have those kind of connections with your siblings.
Yes, I love these kind of stories where we're talking about like the connection between siblings or close friends or family. I've definitely experienced these kind of things myself as well. Even with you, Emma, like often we're in like a setting with our friends, and me and Emma will say the same exact line at the same time quite often, and it's become a little bit of a running joke. Um,
It's a bit creepy sometimes.
is a little bit creepy, to be fair. But I do often joke, like, Emma, will you just stop doing that, please? Thank you. These are my faults. I wonder whether Michael and his brother like had more instances throughout their lives apart from this one time, like uh where we're like us, they like say the same line at the same time, or there's been other things that they've like had connection wise, or whether this was like a one off for them.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more actually. And so, Michael, if you are listening, please let us know. We want to hear more of your stories.
Yes, we'd love to hear more stories in general, and let's build our witchy storybook together.
Definitely. So, Med, have you had a magical moment this week?
Well, it's funny you should ask actually, because I did post about this already on our Facebook community group. But when I was getting ready for the day this morning, I did my oracle card reading as I do. And I knew we were coming here today to do this recording. So I asked it about the podcast, asked for guidance from the cards as to what I needed to see today in terms of the podcast. And so I was shuffling the cards. I always do my little thing where I ask the guides to guide the cards. And as I did this, while I was shuffling, one jumped out just as I asked the guides. And then when one jumps out for me, I always put it to the side. I finish drawing the cards and cut them as normal. And I read the two cards, both the one I've drawn and the one that's jumped out for me. So I continued to shuffle, did my normal cut, drew the card, turned it over, and it was a microphone symbol, pretty much like the little emoji that you use for talking about a podcast. So after having a good laugh at the fact that I had pulled a microphone, I turned over the other card that the guides had popped out for me, and it was headphones. The symbol of
That is
the
just
card.
really weird.
So whenever I'm doing like social media posts and I mention the word podcast, as you do when you're doing social media for a podcast, I always put the little microphone and the headphones
Yeah.
afterwards, and it just yeah, it couldn't have been more spot on. And I don't know why I get so surprised every time that I get confirmation from the cards or something magical happens like that, like as a confirmation that yeah, that things are magical, but, it just gave me a good laugh, and I had to run and tell my husband and my daughter, "Look at these cards I just pulled when asking for the podcast." Yeah, it just gave me a little giggle, but also, the advice was spot on, so and it always is with those cards, so yeah,
They're
perfect.
your favourites, aren't they?
They are definitely my favourite at the moment, yeah. In fact, let me share them with you. So, this Oracle card deck that I'm using at the moment is called the Sacred Creators Oracle. It's published by Chris Ann, and I had my eye on them for a while. They were in my Amazon basket, and then it came to my birthday, and a lovely friend of ours asked me what I wanted and told me to share my Amazon wish list because I'm terrible at kind of letting people buy things for me and telling them what I want. So I was like, actually, you can get me these cards I've had my eye on. Because they say that people are meant to gift you your oracle cards or tarot card decks, but up till now I've bought all of mine. I don't personally think it matters, but you know, um, can't have any harm in someone buying them instead. And they have been so spot on for me so far, and I absolutely am in love with them. So yeah, if you're looking for a new oracle card deck, that's my favorite at the moment. Okay, so Emma, have you had a magical moment this week?
I think I could go as far as saying it was a miracle. Um, it's magical as well. My sister gave birth to a gorgeous little boy, and it's very exciting. And I think that has to top all magical things this week.
Yay! And congratulations to Rachel on the birth of a beautiful baby boy. That truly is magical.
In our bonus episode, we mentioned a review and listener question from Alison. And the question she asked was, I recognise that I am an empath and find it challenging sometimes to protect myself from negative energy and people. Maybe you could discuss this in one of your future podcasts. So, this is a really good question. And it's something that I'm only really starting my journey with and don't have a huge understanding of it. So I'm going to pass you over to Med, who can maybe answer some of that and we can kind of delve into all of it. We're going to learn together.
Perfect. And what a perfect beginning to our listener questions. Because, like you said, this is all about our journey and um, protection magic is definitely a foundation that you want to kind of start with and build on in terms of learning spells and rituals and all that kind of thing. So when you're realizing you are a witch and you want to explore that further, the first thing you need to do is research and you need to think about protection. There are so many different types of protection spells and rituals that we could talk about. I would be here all day. But um, I think that this is definitely something that like we said, it's a journey. So it's something we can delve into and talk about and discover together. So, firstly, focusing on the empath part of your question. So, I myself am I am an empath. It was a number of years ago when I realized I was an empath and realized this because I was most definitely taking on negative energies from people around me. I didn't have the best people around me at the time. And so the feeling of this energy was really strong. I just had my son and definitely believe that pregnancy and just giving birth recently amplifies your empath kind of energy. And if you don't know how to properly close down and protect yourself, then it can be quite dangerous for you. Protecting yourself against energies also. So once realizing this, I had to learn how to close myself down. There's lots of ways to do this. Meditation is key. Learning about your chakras and how to close those down when you need to. And there are obviously spells and rituals you can do to help with this. As mentioned in our bonus episode, when we touched on this question a little, me and Emma did recently attend a witchy retreat where we made some spell jar necklaces for protection. And I do have a story to share actually about how that necklace did work for me. It did its job and protected me, well, myself and my friend, I believe. So this was about 2 weeks ago, I'd say now. My friend came down to visit me for the day and we had a nice brunch planned. On the way there, I remembered that the place we were visiting was cash only. And so I directed my friend to drive us to the nearest place there was a cash point. It's a questionable rub of shops that I do attend quite frequently, though. And I've never, although there are some questionable people about, they've never approached me. I never feel kind of uncertain about being there. However, on this day, myself and my friend got out of the car. We went up to the cash point, started withdrawing money, and there was a few people around who we found quite intimidating, and they kind of hovered around us at the cash point, and they were quite aggressively close. and it was apparent we just kind of needed to finish what we were doing and get out of there safely. Um, yeah, so this happened. Thankfully, they didn't do any more than kind of intimidate us. And then as we got back into the car, my friend turned to me and said, "Wow, that was the most scared I've been in ages. Why did you bring me here?" I did feel really bad, and I was like, "I'm so sorry. It's never been like this before. Like, nobody's ever approached me like that. I wouldn't have brought us here if I'd realized." And, so then she drove off, we turned round the corner, and then I felt for my necklace. I always fiddle with my jewellery that I'm wearing, and I did have that spell jar necklace on, and I realized that the jar was missing. And I was like, "Oh, I've dropped my necklace." And so I'm looking down in the car, seeing if it drops there. It's not there. And I'm looking around, realizing I haven't got it. And I was like, "Oh, well, it must have done its job." And my friend commented to me and said, "Yes, it definitely did. It protected us back there with those guys." And yeah, I think that's what happened. It did. That was a dangerous situation to be in. And my protection necklace repelled the negative energies of those guys, and for whatever reason, although they were coming very close to us and seemed as though they might do something, clearly they didn't, and it stopped them. So that's my little magical moment.
Excellent. That is a really I kind of felt the how uncomfortable you and your friend must have been, and thank goodness you did have your protection jar with you, because yeah, who knows how that could have turned out.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I haven't felt that intimidated for a while, and they were very, very close to us. So clearly they were planning to do something. Otherwise, there's no reason, or they were considering doing something. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to be that close to us while we're withdrawing money. But thankfully, my protection was in place firmly, and it did its job. It's really sad when it's like bittersweet for when things like that happen, because it's like I really loved that necklace. I loved the experience of making it. I loved wearing it, but it's gone now. But it did do its job, so that's what it was for. That's what I made it for, and now, yeah, onwards.
So that takes us perfectly to our next section of the podcast that we call Which Way to Magic. We're going to really go with this, aren't we? It's going to be full of puns. Oh dear.
This is the
So,
path we're taking.
so taking you back to earlier in the episode, we were talking about the poll everyone voted on, and that was telling us to do spells and rituals. And we also had our listener question, which was about how to protect herself from negative energies. So naturally, our first which way to magic has to be creating your own protection spell jar.
Before we talk you through the steps to make your protection spell jar, we'd like to talk you through some of the ingredients you could use. These ingredients are just a guide of things that you could use in your protection spell jar, and we'll tell you the reasons for these ingredients. You can take what you want to use and leave what you don't. Please do not feel you need to rush out to your local supermarket or wherever you can find these ingredients and spend lots of money. That's not what this is about. Your intention is the most important thing. You can always substitute these ingredients. For example, if a spell were to call for a blue candle, you could substitute it with a white candle.
Some of the herbs that you can use are lavender, which is known for its protective qualities, and it also promotes calmness and peace. It's actually one of my favourite herbs to use in anything. You can also use rosemary, which is for protection, purification, and to ward off negative energies. So, absolutely perfect for what we're doing here. And sage is another one, which is commonly used in smudging for cleansing and protection.
Crystals that can be used are black tourmaline, known for grounding and protection. It absorbs the negative energies. Obsidian offers strong protection and shields against negativity. And amethyst provides spiritual protection and purification, helping to calm the mind. So, when you're using these in a small kind of spell jar, if your spell jar is going to be small, I would suggest buying crystal shards of these to use.
Other ingredients that you could use are sea salt or Himalayan salt, which is purifying and protective and often used to cleanse spaces and objects. And cedar, which is known for its protective and purifying properties, again, often used in rituals and protection. Sharp nails or pins can also be used, and they are to ward off negativity, symbolically they're piercing through the harmful energy or spiritual interference, and it adds an assertive, defensive energy to your spell.
Candles are great to use when doing any ritual, and these could be used in this ritual for either sealing the jar or simply burning while you carry out the ritual itself. Candle colours recommended for protection are a black candle, which is my personal favourite, often used for protection, banishing negative energy, and grounding. So it's perfect for sealing a protection jar. White candle represents purity, protection, and spiritual strength. It can be used to amplify the protective qualities of the jar. A purple candle associated with spiritual protection, intuition, and enhancing magical work. Or a blue candle, known for protection, peace, and calming energy, used for protection jars that aim to soothe and shield.
When planning your protection spell jar, think about exactly what you're protecting yourself from. Is it bad energy from a particular person or place, or is it to keep you from other harmful energies? This will help you to set the intention for the spell jar. You could write that intention onto a piece of paper and add it to the jar if you wish.
Before I begin any ritual, I like to take the time to sit with myself, really think about the intention of the ritual I'm about to begin. I usually light a candle, usually the colour white. I may draw a protection circle and call on the elements during this, and then I'll be ready to begin with step one of my ritual.
So, before you start, you'll obviously want to decide what jar you're going to use. Some people will just use, it can be any jar around your house as long as you've given it a good clean. You could choose to use a one of the small jars that are used as necklaces. And they're really tiny, but obviously with a smaller jar, you need to think about the size of the items that you're going to put in it. Step one, we need to cleanse the jar. I like to use sage incense, and you just let the smoke gently flow around and inside of the jar. This will clear away any lingering energy and it prepares it for your intention.
Step two, set your intention. Take a moment to focus on what exactly your intention is with this ritual. Let the ritual know exactly what you expect from it. You can do this by saying it aloud, whispering it, thinking about it, or you could write it down on a piece of paper as a simple phrase or sentence. You could even place this piece of paper inside your jar, or you could burn it.
Step three, you need to add your ingredients. So, what you're going to do here is actually layer those with care. So, maybe take each one separately, hold them in your hand for a moment, s- tell them what the intention is. You can maybe tell that ingredients what power it's going to bring to your spell jar, and then add it to your jar.
Step 4. Seal your jar. Once you've placed the items inside the jar, it's now time to seal it. At this point, you may choose to drip a wax seal with your candle over the seal of the jar. Once you've done this, hold the jar in your hands and think about your intention. You could repeat a simple phrase like, I am protected, I am safe.
Step 5, wear it or place it. You can keep your spell jar somewhere special, on your altar, by your bed, or near your front door. Or if you've used a mini jar, you can turn it into a wearable necklace. That way, you carry your protection with you throughout the day. I hope you've enjoyed making this spell jar with us. Please do let us know how you get on with yours. How did you make it? Were there particular ingredients that you really enjoyed putting in there? And has it worked for you? You can share that with us on our Facebook group, which is Which Way Next Community.
So, Emma, are you ready for another game?
Okay. Why am I feeling so nervous about it? That's really bad, isn't it? Go on,
Maybe
go
you're
ahead.
picking up on my nervous energy because I'm actually a bit nervous about this one. I'm so indecisive. But this game is called Magical This or That.
Okay, then, come on. Let's go for it.
I'm just going to fire some magical things at you and you just roll with it and try and choose one. Good luck. So, if you're listening at home, do play along. If you want to grab a pen and paper so you can let us know your answers, we'd love to hear them. And if not, just play it along for your own amusement. And yeah, here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Tarot or runes?
Oh, I'm going to say tarot, but that's only because I'm more experienced in using tarot cards. But runes really fascinate me, and I definitely want to kind of learn a bit more about those. So maybe that'll be part of our journey.
I
What about
completely
you?
agree. Like, I use oracle cards more than tarot, but they're one in the same, I guess. And they're something I use frequently. But I really enjoyed the runes workshop that we did when we were away, and I really want to get into using them more and do just a bit more research on it before I do delve in. But when I did use the runes in that way at that workshop, it worked so well.
That's good. That's really good. I mean, I I can't really remember how well it went for me when I was doing them. That's my brain's gone to mush, I think. But it was definitely something I wanted to try more of. So watch this space.
Okay, the next one is full moon or new moon rituals.
I'm really embarrassed to say that I don't really get involved in doing either. I am so new to all of this. Um that yeah, it's I don't know if I can actually choose between those. However, I am a bit of a night person, and I like, you know, stories around cryptids like werewolves and things. So maybe the full moon.
Well, number one, don't ever be embarrassed because that's literally what this podcast is about. It's our journey. And number two, I laughed while I asked this question because I could never choose ever between the full moon and the new moon. I do both sets of rituals. They both have a place in my practice. The full moon is more about um, drawing on the full moon to use its power in you can use it in many different ways, but it's great for if you want to banish something, if you want to charge something. For example, you can always put your crystals out on a full moon and charge them. That's a ritual. If you want to do a spell, it's great for extra power. It's actually a full moon today. We are recording on the flower moon. And I've got things lined up for today. Maybe you can do one along with me. That'd be cool. We could do that after this.
Definitely. And yeah, I was aware that it's the flower moon tonight, and I'm thinking about doing a painting
Oh, that's a
to
great
sort
idea.
of, yeah, just
Nice.
to honor it. And I'll probably put my crystals all out because they probably need a good cleanse because I don't do all that very often.
And then the new moon is equally powerful and it's great for manifestation. So anything you want to renew, you want to be out with the old, in with the new, you can start again on a new moon. I mean, I believe you can start again anytime, but if you wanted to choose like the perfect time to restart something, in my opinion, it's always now. But the new moon is really great for anything that you're trying to renew or manifest. So it's a great time to do abundance spells. It's a great time to make a vision board, all those kind of things that you want to bring to you and draw in. The new moon is great for.
I do like a good manifestation, so definitely one I'm going to have a go at.
Awesome. Right, next one. Spell jars or candle magic?
Oh, spell jars. Purely because it takes me back to a time when, when you're an innocent child and you go and collect rose petals off the neighbours' rose bushes and then make up a potion. And there's just something so, connected with the earth about it. I haven't done much candle work before, but I love doing anything that uses nature.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I remember like I used to call it perfume, I guess, when I was making potion bottles and stuff, but it always kind of evolved into becoming not a perfume, but a more of a potion. And I definitely did it with intention at the time, but I didn't really quite understand what I was doing. And I agree, spell jars, yeah, 100%. In fact, for me, candle magic kind of comes into spell jars because I always do have a candle burning. I maybe will anoint it for the type of spell jar I'm making. So I've got kind of that extra charge of energy. But I've never really used candle magic as a full ritual in its own. It's always been a side by side thing.
Nice. Maybe I should get some candles.
Yes, definitely. Candles are very important as a witch for me. Candles of every colour.
Everyone's gonna know how new I am to all of this by my answers, aren't they?
But it's good because we'll have people who are really new. I'm new myself. I consider myself still a new I mean, I've definitely been, um, not into, what's the word I'm looking for? I've definitely known I was a witch since I was young, but I took a long break from it, and I've only just the last couple of years got back into it properly and practiced it and researched it properly. But, yeah, that's the point in the podcast. It's that it's for everyone on every part of the journey, and we can all kind of do this journey together. Talking about
Absolutely.
getting candles, I literally was on Amazon just as we were coming on here to record because I always light my white candle in this candle holder while we're doing the podcast to charge the energy for it. And, I'd run out and didn't realise. So we've got a blue candle today because it's all I could find. And that's an important thing as well. Like we've said this time and time again, but can't say it enough. If you haven't got what you were looking for, just substitute it. It's the intention. I still wanted a candle burning, so now I have a blue one. Herb bundles or incense for cleansing.
Ooh. Now, we use incense all the time at home. Um, and I mean literally all the time. There's pretty much an incense burner going like most of the day. Um, but actually I would love to start using bundles of herbs and working with that side of things because to me the incense has become a like it's not meaning a lot because we're just using it for fragrance.
Yeah. So the intention isn't always there.
Yeah, definitely. The only intention is for it to cover up the smell of dog farts.
That's negative energy you don't want around your house.
No.
Yeah, I use both actually. See, I'm terrible at this game. I can't choose this or that. If I had to choose one, I would oh, I can't. I use them for different things. So the incense, I usually use sage and dragon's blood incense for a quick cleanse. So I'll do that whenever I feel like the energy needs going, or if am doing about to do some craft work and I want to get rid of any negative energies or energies that are just not part of my ritual. I will burn it as part of my getting ready to do the ritual. But then at other times, if I really do feel like I've got some negativity weighing down on me, then the whole family knows about it because suddenly start getting out my little chiming bells and playing my my chants and going around the house with the sage bundle, opening all the cupboard doors and the windows. And they're like, "There she goes again." Although I do try to do that nowhere near my son being home because he's asthmatic. So, yeah, I'm terrible at this game. That's why I laughed at the beginning. I can't choose one or the other. And I will allow people to be like me and give two answers if they want to play along at home. Praise myself. Okay, our fifth and final one for today: amethyst or black tourmaline.
Amethyst. And that one I was really quick with.
Yeah, you jumped in. Amethyst.
Yeah, I mean, I've I suffer with anxiety, and I discovered years ago that amethyst really helped me. And so I always carry some with me. If I'm doing anything new, there's some amethyst with me. And I like to work with it and um, use lavender essential oils as well. And it's just how it makes me feel. I'm so relaxed when I've got some amethyst. So amethyst, amethyst, amethyst.
Wow, we got it in freeze. Perfect. Yeah, I completely agree with what you said about amethyst. I've always used it for the same reason. I used to have like a particular amethyst stone that I always kept in my bra when I used to really suffer with anxiety because it's like
That's
something
why everyone called you a
strange.
witch. It was the third nipple.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of space down there. My bra's not small, so no one noticed, thankfully. But I have to say, the last few years since I've been more into practicing my craft, I've kind of come away from amethyst a bit and I have moved more towards black tourmaline. I don't use it a great deal, but it's definitely something I use more than amethyst now. Um, and it's great for protection and grounding and cleansing. Um, so yeah, it kind of absorbs all of that negative energy around you, which I think in turn does help your anxiety because it's all of that confusing energy that makes you. If you'd asked me a few years ago, I 100% would have jumped to amethyst like you did. But I
Yeah.
think now for me, it's black tourmaline. And look, I made a decision between the two.
It is, I mean, it's good stuff. I'm pretty sure it's in the protection necklaces that we made.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So yeah, yeah, it is very good stuff. But I guess they all have their own place.
100%. And I don't think there's a crystal I don't love. I mean,
This
there's
is
probably
true.
crystals I don't know much about, so I don't love them yet. But once I know about them, I'm sure I will love them too.
Oh, talking about crystals, I think it was a rainbow tourmaline came up on my Facebook feed, and I'm totally in love. But I want that specific one. And when you're like, I don't want to order it online in case it doesn't look like I think it's going
Yeah,
to look.
they vary so much. You don't know they're
Yeah,
not selling, sending that exact one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Because for
different.
me,
It's one of those things you have to
I
buy in person unless you don't mind what shape or
yeah.
whatever it is.
And for me, it definitely, I have to resonate, or it has to resonate with me in, what it looks like, its color, the feel of it,
Yeah,
just everything about it. So, yeah, when you're ordering something so specific online and it doesn't come out how you expect, yeah.
ooh.
Welcome to the Bell Witch Podcast, a show that covers the infamous legend of the historic Bell Witch haunting in southern United States in the 19th century, where the Bell family experienced frightening happenings within their home. Hang on a second. No, that's the wrong Bell Witch. This is a podcast about being a witchy pagan in the 21st century, airing bi-weekly, with different guests on each month sharing their pearls of wisdom and gems of knowledge from their very own witchy businesses. I call it a moot loot. Here we cover a wide range of pagan and witchcraft related topics, from sigils, spells and spirits to Reiki rituals and pagan parenting while camping in the Bell tent named Delilah. It's got nothing to do with the Bell Witch from the 19th century in Tennessee that scared people to death in a little townhouse, which may or may not be true. Pretty cool story, but yeah, it's the wrong Bell Witch. This Bell Witch podcast is brought to you by Swales, the friendly green witch from Leeds, UK. A northern witch with a strong Yorkshire accent, a love of all things weird, spooky, magical, and a smelly dragon named Dave. So tune in every 2 weeks for a sprinkling of Yorkshire magic. Listen to the Bell Witch podcast with me, Swales, the friendly green witch, wherever you get your podcasts.
So we are nearing the end of this episode of Which Way Next. But before we come to that end, we'd like to invite you to join us in this reflective moment.
As the moon moves through her phases, so do we. This week, whether you're feeling strong and shielded or tender and tired, take a moment to ground yourself in your own energy. Breathe in deeply and breathe out anything that doesn't belong to you. Ask yourself, what does protection look like for me right now? Is it setting a boundary, saying no, or maybe just making space to rest? Let this be your gentle reminder. You are allowed to feel safe, to protect your peace, and to carry your magic with pride. Thank you for listening to this episode and being part of our journey. To continue the conversation, we invite you to join us on our Facebook group, Which Way Next Community. You'll be asked the questions, what are the names of the hosts? The answer is Med and Emma.
You can also find us on our Facebook page, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. If you want to get in touch to share a listener story, question, or to work with us, our email address is whichwaynext@gmail.com. So I've been Med.
And I've been Emma. Join us next time where we ask the question, which way next?
It's a questionable... I can't say questionable.
You can.
I did it then.
We got this.
Have we, though?
We have. We get there
Which way
eventually.
next? Out the window. That's where this PC's going. He said 53. This was the number I was in fact thinking of.